The champagne tower at the victory celebration banquet reflected a dazzling light under the lights. Su Xiao, arm in arm with Zhou Zihao, stood in the center of the banquet hall, receiving compliments from the entire company. Director Zhou is truly young and promising, a collaboration worth hundreds of millions. Secure just like that, Zhou Zihao smiled politely and whispered to Su Xiao, "Thanks to you." Su Xiao's cheeks flushed slightly, just as she was about to say something. Her gaze swept across the entire room, and her brows suddenly furrowed. "Where is Cheng Yuan?" She took out her phone, about to dial, and explain why she had given the proposal her husband had spent 3 months working on to her male best friend. When her assistant, Xiao Chun, stumbled into the banquet hall, her face ashen. "President Su, Director Zhou, something's happened." Xiao Chen's voice trembled in the suddenly silent hall. "Just received notification. All our partners have withdrawn their investment." The other party's legal department sent a formal letter pointing out that the plan has serious copyright issues. The company is going bankrupt. The audience erupted in uproar. The wine glass in Su Zhao's hand shattered on the ground with a crack. Zhou Zihao's smile froze instantly. At that moment, Cheng Yuan was standing in his car downstairs from the banquet hall, looking at the bank transfer notification he had just received on his phone screen. The number is followed by 8 zeros. He turned off the engine and opened the car door. 7 days ago, at 11 p.m., Cheng Yuan rubbed his sore eyes, checked the last piece of data, saved it, encrypted it, and backed it up to 3 different cloud platforms. On the computer screen, the title of Comprehensive Plan for the Smart Logistics Park of Yuanhang Group is particularly eye-catching. The footer indicates Page 218. This is the result of his 3 consecutive months of hard work. From market research, competitor analysis, technical architecture, and financial models to the implementation timeline, every word reflects his hard work. If the project succeeds, the company's valuation could triple. More importantly, this is an opportunity for Yuanxiao Technology, which he co-founded with his wife, Su Xiao, to turn things around. 3 years ago, when the company ran into trouble, Cheng Yuan mortgaged the old house left by his parents to barely get by. Su Xiao held his hand at the time and said, "Honey, once the company is better, let's move to a bigger house and have a child." Cheng Yuan turned off the computer, got up, and walked to the living room. Su Xiao was curled up on the sofa, scrolling through her phone, a smile playing on her lips. "What are you looking at? So happy?" Cheng Yuan poured a glass of water and sat down next to her. Su Xiao turned her phone screen towards him. "This is Zhou Zihao's WeChat moments, a photo taken at a golf course. Captioned, I had a very pleasant chat with Mr. Zhang from Yuanhang Group and look forward to cooperating with him." Cheng Yuan frowned slightly. Zhou Zihao was Su Zhao's college classmate. After graduation, he joined an investment company and has been doing very well in recent years. Su Xiao always said that he was her most capable male best friend, and she often consulted him when the company had problems. But Cheng Yuan didn't like this person very much. At the last company shareholders meeting, Zhou Zihao showed up uninvited, pointed fingers at Cheng Yuan's proposal, and finally said, "President Cheng's ideas are still too conservative. What the market needs now is boldness." At the time, Su Xiao nodded in agreement. Zihao said he might be able to connect us with people at Yuanhang Group. Su Zhao's eyes lit up. "Honey, didn't you finish your proposal? Why don't we show it to Zihao? He knows a lot of people. Maybe he can offer some advice." Cheng Yuan remained silent for a few seconds. The plan involves the company's core data and is not convenient to show to outsiders. How can Zihao be considered an outsider? Su Xiao sat up straight. "He genuinely wants to help us. Besides, he's in the investment circle and has a wide network. What's wrong with taking a look? This isn't a matter of connections." Cheng Yuan tried to keep his tone calm. "I spent 3 months on this plan. Intellectual property is crucial. What if? What? You think Zihao would steal your plan?" Su Zhao's face darkened. "Cheng Yuan, how can you be so petty? Zihao is my best friend. If he wanted to harm us, he would have done it already." Seeing the dissatisfaction in his wife's eyes, Cheng Yuan swallowed back the words he was about to say. The company has faced difficulties these past 3 years, and Su Xiao has been under immense pressure. She often says, if it weren't for Zihao occasionally introducing some resources, the company would have collapsed long ago. Cheng Yuan knew this was true, but he also knew that the so-called resources Zhou Zihao introduced ultimately failed. On the contrary, the company incurred considerable expenses for entertainment and favors. How about this? Cheng Yuan compromised a bit. I'll put together a simplified overview, without going into the core data and models. You can show it to him and hear his opinion. Su Zhao's expression softened slightly. That's more like it. She picked up her phone and typed quickly. Ziheo, my husband has finished the outline of the plan. He'll send it to you tomorrow. Chung Yuan got up to wash up. In the bathroom mirror, he saw the dark circles under his eyes. For 3 months, I only slept 4 or 5 hours a day, but he didn't feel tired. If this project succeeds, the company can survive, and he and Su Xiao can fulfill their promise from back then. When I returned to the bedroom, Su Xiao was already asleep. Chung Yuan lay down gently, but he was wide awake. He took out his phone and opened the encrypted folder. It contains all the original documents of the plan, records of the research process, screenshots of data sources, and 3 months ago, when he first came up with the idea, he jotted it down in his notebook and took a picture to archive it. There was also a screenshot of an email. It was an email he sent to himself, with a timestamp showing it was sent 3 months ago at 2 a.m. And the attachment contained the initial conceptual framework of the plan. Email subject: preliminary concept of smart logistics park. This is his habit. He would email himself every important idea to keep it as evidence. Chung Yuan stared at the screen, his finger hovering over the contact in lawyer consultation for a moment. But ultimately, he didn't click on it. Perhaps he was overthinking it. Perhaps Zhou Ziheo really just wanted to help. He turned off his phone and closed his eyes. The next morning, Chung Yuan was woken up by a phone call. It was Xiao Chun, the company's assistant. Her voice anxious. President Chung, please come to the company quickly. President Su. She copied the complete version of the plan. Chung Yuan sat up abruptly. The bed next to me was empty. 9 o'clock in the morning. In the conference room of Yuan Xiao Technology. When Chung Yuan pushed open the glass door, Su Xiao was standing in front of the projection screen, and Zhou Ziheo was sitting at the head of the conference table, holding Chung Yuan's USB drive. The company's other 2 minority shareholders, Li, the finance manager, and Zhao, the operations manager, that were also present. President Chung is here. Zhou Ziheo smiled and waved the USB drive. Su Xiao showed me the plan, and it's indeed well done. However, I think there are some parts that need optimization. Chung Yuan looked at Su Xiao. Su Xiao avoided his gaze, her tone somewhat hurried. Honey, Ziheo read the summary and said he wants to see the full version before giving specific advice. I was thinking, well, we're all family anyway. So, one of our own? Chung Yuan asked calmly. Chung Yuan, what kind of attitude is this? Zhou Ziheo stood up and walked up to Chung Yuan. I only spent time helping you review the proposal because of Su Xiao. Do you know how many people are eyeing this Yuan Hang Group project? Without inside connections, you can't even get in the door. He patted Chung Yuan on the shoulder, quite forcefully. Young people, it's good to have ideas, but you also need to know how to leverage resources. Chung Yuan looked at the hand on his shoulder, but didn't move. Finance manager Sister Lee smoothed things over, saying, President Chung, Director Zhou meant well. Given the current situation of our company, it's always good to have more opportunities. Operations manager Zhao nodded in agreement. Yes. President Chung, Director Zhou has extensive connections in the investment circle. He might really be able to help. Chung Yuan was silent for a few seconds, then pulled out a chair and sat down. Director Zhou, where do you think optimization is needed? Zhou Ziheo walked back to the projection screen and picked up the laser pointer. The overall architecture is good, but the technical solution is too conservative. He clicked on the technical architecture diagram. Everyone is talking about cloud computing and big data now, but yours is still stuck in the traditional server architecture. Far East will definitely not look favorably upon you. Chung Yuan looked at the hybrid cloud architecture he had meticulously designed on the screen and remained silent. That was the optimal solution he designed after repeated calculations based on the existing IT system and cost control requirements of the Far Eastern Group. And here too, Zhou Ziheo flipped to the financial model page. A 5-year investment return cycle? That's too long. Capital these days wants quick in and out. You need to compress the cycle to within 3 years. We cannot achieve positive cash flow within 3 years, Chung Yuan said, unless we falsify the data. The meeting room fell silent for a moment. Zhou Ziheo laughed. President Chung, we can't be too rigid when it comes to projects. Data can be adjusted, right? Let's get the project on first. And then, Chung Yuan asked, if the project fails to meet expectations after its implementation, whose responsibility is it? That's an execution issue. Zhou Ziheo shrugged. At least we've secured the project. The company's valuation has gone up, and financing will be easier to negotiate. Mr. Chung, you come from a technical background, so you might not understand how the capital market works. These words sound light and casual, yet they feel like a thorn in my side. Su Xiao couldn't help but say, Honey, Zaheo is right. Let's figure out how to secure the project first, and we can adjust the rest later. Sheng Yuan looked at his wife. In Su Zhao's eyes, there was urgency, expectation, and a hint of dissatisfaction with his inflexibility and this implementation timeline. Zhou Zaheo continued to comment, is too detailed. It makes you seem petty. Big corporations look at strategy and vision. If you list out what you do every month, they'll think your company only knows how to work hard and lacks perspective. He flipped through the pages, criticizing almost every core design element in Sheng Yuan's proposal. In conclusion, the basic plan is okay, but it needs major revisions. Here's what I'll do. I'll take it back and have my team polish it up, add some trendy industry terms, and give it a makeover. Sheng Yuan finally looked up. Director Zhou, do you mean you want to revise my proposal? It's not a change. It's an optimization. Zhou Zaheo smiled. Of course, if President Cheng feels it's unnecessary, then that's fine. However, President Zhang from Yuan Hang Group will be receiving a report next week. If we miss this opportunity, who knows when the next chance will come? The pressure was put on Sheng Yuan. Both finance manager Li and operations manager Zhao were looking at him. Su Xiao walked directly to his side and lowered her voice. Honey, don't be stubborn. Zaheo is a professional. You can't go wrong by listening to him. Sheng Yuan looked at the expressions on everyone's faces in the conference room. Finally, he nodded. Good. Zhou Zaheo's smile deepened. That's right. Don't worry, President Cheng. I'll make sure the proposal looks perfect. The meeting has ended. Zhou Zaheo left with the USB drive, and Su Xiao saw him off to the elevator. Sheng Yuan returned to his office and closed the door. He turned on his computer and logged into the cloud backup system. The complete backup from last night was last accessed at 8:45 this morning from Su Zhao's computer. He accessed the company's surveillance system. The footage shows that at 8:30 a.m., Su Xiao entered his office, used the spare key he kept in his drawer to turn on the computer, and inserted a USB drive to copy files. The whole process was performed with such practiced ease, as if he had done it many times before. Sheng Yuan leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. 3 seconds later, he opened his eyes, opened his phone's contacts, found a number labeled Lawyer Han, and dialed it. The call was answered quickly. Attorney Han, this is Sheng Yuan. I'd like to consult about copyright protection for business plans. Yes, I had a complete project proposal, but someone took it. Evidence? I have photos of the original manuscript, email timestamps, cloud backup records, and surveillance videos. I want to know if the other party uses my proposal to negotiate cooperation. How can I protect my rights? On the other end of the phone, Attorney Han's voice was professional and clear. Mr. Cheng, according to the copyright law, as the creator of the plan, you enjoy full copyright. If the other party uses your work without permission, you can claim infringement damages. But the key is to prove that you are the original author and that the other party acted with malicious intent. Sheng Yuan listened while taking notes in his notebook. In addition, if the other party signs a contract using your proposal, and the partner suffers losses during the performance of the contract due to problems with the proposal itself, you may need to prove that you're not involved in the final contract in order to avoid being implicated. Sheng Yuan paused, his pen poised. What if my wife took the plan? There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. Marital status does not affect copyright ownership. However, if your wife is a shareholder in the company, she may argue that the project is a work made for hire, and the copyright belongs to the company. This depends on the terms of your employment contract with the company. Sheng Yuan recalled that when the company was registered 3 years ago, Su Xiao said, a husband and wife business doesn't need to be so formal, and they didn't even sign an employment contract. He only had one business card, technical director. I don't have a formal employment contract. He said, that makes things easier. Attorney Han said, you can argue that the proposal is your personal work and has nothing to do with the company. But Mr. Cheng, let me ask you one more question. You and your wife, what are you planning to do? Let's prepare first. Sheng Yuan interrupted him. Could you please draft a lawyer's letter template for me? And also organize the materials needed for copyright registration? Okay. Also, I suggest you register the copyright as soon as possible. Although copyright is automatically granted upon completion of the work, the registration certificate is strong evidence in litigation. Clear. After hanging up the phone, Sheng Yuan opened a drawer and took out an old notebook. Turn to the page from 3 months ago. The hastily written handwriting outlines the initial concept of the Smart Logistics Park. Next to it is the date, March 15th. He took the photo and uploaded it to an encrypted cloud. Then, he opened his email and forwarded the email from 3 months ago, titled Preliminary Concept of Smart Logistics Park, along with all the attachments, to Attorney Han. After doing all that, he leaned back in his chair and looked out the window. Downstairs, Su Xiao was seeing Zhou Zihao off to his car. Before getting into the car, Zhou Zihao casually patted Su Xiao's arm. Su Xiao smiled and waved. Cheng Yuan withdrew his gaze, turned on his computer, and began searching for public information about Zhou Zihao and Yuan Hang Group. An industry news item from 3 months ago caught his attention. Yuan Hang Group launches Smart Logistics Park project. Public bidding is imminent. The news report mentioned the project leader, Mr. Zhang, vice president of Yuan Hang Group. In the accompanying photo, Mr. Zhang is standing next to someone. Although it was just a side profile, Cheng Yuan recognized her. It shows Zihao. The photo was taken half a month before he started working on the plan. Cheng Yuan stared at the screen and slowly leaned back in his chair. I see. It's not about helping. They've had their eyes on it for a long time. He saved the news screenshot and closed the web page. The office door was pushed open, and Su Xiao walked in with a smile on her face. Honey, Zihao said he'll go back and revise the plan as soon as possible. He'll definitely help us win this project. Cheng Yuan nodded as he looked at her excited expression. Good. Su Xiao walked to his side, bent down and hugged him. Honey, once this project succeeds, our company will turn around. Then, we'll move to a bigger house. Okay. Cheng Yuan felt his wife's body temperature and spoke softly. Good. For the next 3 days, Cheng Yuan went to work as usual, but he never touched that plan again. When Su Xiao asked, he said, Didn't Director Zhou want to optimize it? I'll wait until he finishes making the changes before I look at it. Su Xiao didn't suspect anything and instead comforted him. Zihao's team is very professional. They'll definitely do a better job than us. Cheng Yuan didn't speak. He used those 3 days to do several things. First, I submitted a copyright registration application to the Copyright Bureau. The acceptance receipt was stamped with a red seal, and the date was clearly visible. Secondly, the entire chain of evidence was compiled. Manuscript photos, email timestamps, cloud backup records, copies of surveillance videos, and copyright registration acceptance receipts. All files were encrypted and stored on a separate hard drive, with another copy given to Attorney Han for safekeeping. Third, he found out the itinerary of General Manager Zhang of Yuan Hang Group through friends in the industry. A friend messaged me. Mr. Zhang has a meeting at the group headquarters next Monday afternoon, but he should be available afterwards. Do you really want to schedule a meeting with him? I can ask his secretary for you. Cheng Yuan replied, No need. I'm just looking into it. He didn't want to alert the enemy. On the afternoon of the 4th day, Zhou Zihao arrived. This time, he walked into the company without prior notice, carrying his laptop, followed by a young man in a suit carrying a briefcase. Su Xiao, Mr. Cheng, let me introduce you. Zhou Zihao said with a smile. This is Attorney Wang, who specializes in intellectual property and commercial contracts. Attorney Wang handed over his business card. Cheng Yuan took it and glanced at it. The law firm has a very prestigious name. Zihao, what's wrong with you? Su Xiao asked, somewhat puzzled. I've optimized the plan. Zhou Zihao turned on his computer and projected the screen onto the conference room's large screen. But before that, there are some procedures we need to go through. He gestured to Attorney Wang. Attorney Wang took 2 documents out of his briefcase and pushed them in front of Cheng Yuan and Su Xiao. Solution Optimization Service Agreement. Cheng Yuan opened it. The terms are very professional, with the core content being just one clause. Zhou Zihao and his team will optimize Cheng Yuan's original plan, and the intellectual property rights of the optimized plan will belong to Yuan Xiao Technology. However, Zhou Zihao's side will have the exclusive agency rights to promote the plan, and if the plan leads to cooperation, Zhou Zihao's side will be entitled to 20% of the cooperation amount as a service fee. 20%? Su Xiao exclaimed. Zihao, isn't that too high? Xiao, this is a project worth hundreds of millions. Zhou Zihao said gently. 20% may seem like a lot, but you have to think about it. Without me, you wouldn't have gotten this project at all. Besides, my team has been working overtime this week to optimize the plan, and that adds up to the costs. He looked at Cheng Yuan. What does Mr. Cheng think? Cheng Yuan closed the agreement. Why should the intellectual property rights of the original plan belong to the company? Because this is a project undertaken for a client. Zhou Zihao said matter-of-factly. President Chung is the company's technical director, so naturally the solution belongs to the company. Otherwise, what? Does President Chung intend to take the solution and work independently? That's a really hurtful thing to say. Su Zhao's expression changed. Honey, Zihao is right. The plan was originally made for the company. Chung Yuan looked at his wife. What if I don't sign? The atmosphere in the meeting room froze instantly. Zhou Zihao's smile faded slightly. President Chung, that's not very nice. I've been running around helping you all this time. I can't let it all go to waste. Can I? You don't have to help, Chung Yuan said. Chung Yuan, Su Xiao exclaimed anxiously. How can you say that? Zihao is genuinely trying to help us. Sincerely? Chung Yuan repeated the word, looking at Zhou Zihao. Director Zhou, you know General Manager Zhang of Yuan Hang Group, right? Zhou Zihao's eyes flickered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. What's wrong? 3 months ago, in the news about Yuan Hang Group launching this project, you were standing next to President Zhang. Chung Yuan said calmly. At that time, I hadn't even started working on the proposal yet. Su Xiao was stunned and looked at Zhou Zihao. Zhou Zihao laughed. President Chung investigated me? That's right. I know President Zhang, and I knew about this project a long time ago. So what? I have connections and want to help a friend. Is there a problem? No problem, Chung Yuan said. But since you already knew about the project, why did you wait until I finished the proposal before offering your help? What do you mean? Zhou Zihao's face darkened. What I mean is, what you need isn't help us, but a complete, feasible plan to deliver to General Manager Zhang, Chung Yuan said, emphasizing each word. If you can't do it yourself, or don't want to spend the time doing it, then you can reap the rewards once we've done it. Chung Yuan, Su Xiao suddenly stood up. You've gone too far. If Zihao wanted to steal the plan, he would have done it already. Why wait until now, and then help us optimize it? Optimization? Chung Yuan clicked on the optimized version of the solution brought by Zhou Zihao. On the big screen, the cover of the proposal has been changed. The original title of full-scale planning document for the Smart Logistics Park of Yuan Hang Group has been updated with a new line of small print. Optimized version. In the author's signature section, Chung Yuan's name was moved to the second line. The first line reads, Zhou Zihao's team. Is this what optimization is? Chung Yuan asked. Zhou Zihao remained unfazed. It's a team project, just a matter of convention for signing names. If Mr. Chung minds, you can put your name first. What bothers me is that you changed my core data. Chung Yuan flipped to the financial model page. You changed the investment return period from 5 years to 3 years and increased the revenue data by 40%. Did you even do the calculations for these figures? This is what the capital market expects. Zhou Zihao said impatiently. President Chung, do you even want things to work out? If you want it to work out, you have to follow the market rules. What if the project doesn't meet expectations after it's implemented? That's an execution problem. Zhou Zihao raised his voice. Chung Yuan, I see you now. You're just afraid that if the project succeeds, you'll look incompetent. You'd rather the company continue to languish than let your pathetic pride remain, right? That's a really harsh statement. Su Xiao looked at Chung Yuan, her eyes filled with disappointment. Honey, Zihao is right. We can't be afraid to try just because we're afraid of failure. Chung Yuan looked at his wife, then at Zhou Zihao, and finally at the agreement. He knew that if things turned sour now, Su Xiao wouldn't be on his side. The company's other 2 shareholders also won't. He needs time. We also need to let some people jump even higher. Okay, Chung Yuan picked up the pen. I'll sign. He signed the agreement. Zhou Zihao's face broke into a smile again. That's right. Don't worry, President Chung. If the project succeeds, everyone will benefit. Attorney Wang took the agreement. Zhou Zihao closed his laptop. Next Monday, the Yuan Hang Group project briefing. I've already arranged a time with General Manager Zhang, and I'll bring the proposal with me. I'll go too, Chung Yuan said. What are you going to do? Zhou Zihao frowned. I can report it. You're not good at public speaking. I created the plan, and I'm familiar with the technical details. I've thoroughly mastered the optimized version. Zhou Zihao said firmly. President Chung, let professionals handle professional matters. Just wait for good news at the company. He looked at Su Xiao. Xiao, come with me. We'll need you to sign on behalf of the company. Su Xiao nodded quickly. Okay. Chung Yuan didn't argue anymore. He knew that arguing was pointless. After Zhou Zihao left with his lawyer, Su Xiao walked to Chung Yuan's side and softened her tone. Honey, don't be angry. Zaheo may be blunt, but he's doing it for our own good. Once the project is successful, you'll understand his intentions. Chung Yuan looked at his wife and asked, Su Xiao, if one day you discover that Zhou Zaheo isn't helping us, but rather harming us, what will you choose? Su Xiao was stunned, then laughed. How could that be? Zaheo isn't that kind of person. I mean, if. There are no ifs. Su Xiao shook her head. Honey, you've been too tired lately, and you're being so suspicious. Once the project is done, let's go on a trip and relax. She patted Chung Yuan's hand, then turned and left the office. Chung Yuan sat down in the chair and turned on his phone. Attorney Han sent a message. Mr. Chung, the copyright registration has entered the review process and the certificate is expected to be issued within 5 working days. In addition, I have made some discoveries regarding the background of Zhou Zaheo that you asked me to investigate. The investment company he works for was penalized by regulators last year for irregular operations. He himself owns a shell company that is used to take on some non-compliant consulting business. Furthermore, his relationship with General Manager Zhang of Yuan Hang Group may be more than just acquaintances. Zhang's brother-in-law is a hidden shareholder of Zhou Zaheo's shell company. Chung Yuan looked at the message and slowly exhaled. Really, a complete chain of interests. He replied, received. Thank you. Is the lawyer's letter template ready? Ready. Ready to send at any time. There's no rush yet. Chung Yuan put down his phone and looked out the window. The sky was getting dark. The city lights came on one by one. He recalled 3 years ago, when the company had just been established. He and Su Xiao stood in this small office, looking at the night view outside the window. Su Xiao said, Honey, we're going to make a name for ourselves here. He said, Okay, right now, the sky hasn't been cleared yet, but the family is about to fall apart first. But he won't let those people succeed. A plan gradually took shape in his mind. Chung Yuan did not go home for the 2 days over the weekend. He sent Su Xiao a message, going out of town to meet a client. We'll be back on Monday. Su Xiao replied, Okay, be careful on the road. Remember to check your phone on Monday. Zaheo said he'll notify us as soon as the report meeting is over. Chung Yuan did not reply. He went to Attorney Han's office. The two spent the entire afternoon in the conference room. Mr. Chung, based on the information you provided, Zhou Zaheo is likely using your plan to pave the way for the transfer of benefits between him and Mr. Zhang's brother-in-law. Attorney Han analyzed. If the project is signed and the funds enter Yuan Xiao Technologies' account, they can transfer most of the profits by inflating costs and engaging in related party transactions. And if problems arise in the project, such as falsifying data in the solution causing losses to the partner, Yuan Xiao Technology will bear the responsibility. Chung Yuan continued, because the solution is signed by the company, and the contracting party is also the company. That's right. Attorney Han nodded. At that time, Zhou Zaheo can walk away unscathed and even claim his service fees as the optimized service provider. Meanwhile, you and your wife, as the actual controllers of the company, will face huge compensation claims. Chung Yuan remained silent. Attorney Han looked at him. Mr. Chung, you now have 2 choices. First, immediately stop the signing and expose Zhou Zaheo. But this might completely ruin your relationship with your wife. And without a contract, your losses cannot be quantified, making it difficult to claim compensation. And the second one? Second, get them to sign. Attorney Han said sharply. Once the contract is in effect and the funds are in place, file a lawsuit for copyright infringement and contract fraud. This way, your losses can be quantified, and the amount of compensation you can claim will be greater. Moreover, if the partner withdraws its investment due to issues with the plan, you can also claim that Zhou Zaheo's side is liable for breach of contract. But in that case, the company might go bankrupt. Chung Yuan said, Yes. Attorney Han admitted frankly, it's a gamble. The gamble is whether you can obtain enough evidence to overturn the situation at the last minute and convince your partners that the problem lies with Zhou Zaheo, not with you and your company. Chung Yuan leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. 3 seconds later, he opened his eyes. Choose the second option. I need to do a few things for me. Monday morning, Far Eastern Group headquarters. Chung Yuan sat in the coffee shop across from the building, looking at his phone. At 10 a.m., Su Xiao sent a message. We've arrived at Yuanhang. Zaheo is communicating with General Manager Zhang's secretary. 10:30, I'm going into the meeting room. I'm so nervous. 11 a.m., the report has begun. Zaheo's presentation was excellent. 11:30, Mr. Zhang kept nodding. Midnight, honey. Mr. Zhang approved it on the spot. He said the proposal is very professional and perfectly meets their needs. Let's prepare to sign the contract. You can feel Su Zhao's excitement even in her words. Cheng Yuan replied, "Congratulations." Zaheo said, "We'll sign the letter of intent this afternoon, and the signing bonus will arrive this week." "Honey, we got it." Why aren't you excited at all?" "I'm busy." Cheng Yuan put down his phone and looked out the window. The Far Eastern Group building is magnificent and imposing. He knew that Su Xiao and Zhou Ziheo were enjoying the joy of victory at that moment, but they didn't know that this joy was built on the beach. At 2 p.m., Cheng Yuan received a photo of the contract from Su Xiao. Letter of intent for cooperation between Yuanhang Group and Yuan Xiao Technology on the Smart Logistics Park project. Contracting parties, Yuanhang Group and Yuan Xiao Technology. Contract amount, 120 million. Signing representative, Su Xiao. The full text of the plan was attached to the agreement. Cheng Yuan opened the attachment. On the cover of the project, the words Zhou Ziheo team are prominently displayed in the author's signature section. His original plan was completely altered. The data was inflated, the risk warnings were removed, and the technical solutions were replaced with flashy but impractical concepts. But the core architecture is still his. Cheng Yuan saved all the files. At 3 p.m., Attorney Han called. "Mr. Chung, the copyright registration certificate has been issued and has been delivered to the address you specified. In addition, I found out that Zhou Ziheo's shell company changed its equity structure this morning. Zhang's brother-in-law's shares have changed from being undisclosed to being publicly disclosed." "You're really quick," Cheng Yuan said. "They're probably preparing for subsequent financial operations." Attorney Han advised. "Mr. Chung, when do you plan to make your move?" "We're waiting for the signing bonus to arrive," Cheng Yuan said. "And we're also waiting for them to throw a celebration banquet." "A victory celebration banquet?" "Given Zhou Ziheo's personality, he will definitely do it," Cheng Yuan said calmly. "Moreover, he will choose the most public occasion so that everyone knows that this is Zhou Ziheo's achievement." "Then I will go." After hanging up the phone, Cheng Yuan opened his mobile banking app. Yuan Xiao Technology's corporate account has less than 500.000 yuan left. The company's monthly operating costs are 300.000 yuan. If this signing bonus doesn't arrive, the company won't survive until next month. But Cheng Yuan knew that the money wouldn't arrive so easily. An agreement of intent is not a formal contract, and there is a payment cycle for the signing bonus. Zhou Ziheo will definitely find a way to further consolidate control of the company before the formal contract is signed. Sure enough, Su Xiao called at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. "Honey," Ziheo said that in order to ensure the smooth progress of the project, he suggested that the company adjust its equity structure. "How should I adjust it?" He wants to invest in the company by offering service fees for optimizing the solutions, taking a 20% stake. Su Zhao's voice was somewhat hesitant. He said that way he can wholeheartedly help us. Cheng Yuan smiled. "You agreed?" "I haven't agreed yet, but Ziheo said it's industry practice. And after he takes a stake, he'll use his resources to help the company attract more investment." Su Xiao persuaded. "Honey, I think we should consider it. You've seen Ziheo's abilities. He helped us secure the Yuanhang project, and he can help us secure even more in the future. What if I don't agree?" There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. "Honey, don't be like this. The company needs Ziheo right now. We need him." Su Zhao's tone became more serious. "Although this project was successful, we still need a lot of resources for its follow-up execution. Without Ziheo, we can't manage. So, you're determined to get him to invest?" "I'm doing this for the company's good," Su Xiao said anxiously. "Cheng Yuan, can you please stop being so stubborn? Ziheo is helping us, not harming us." Cheng Yuan didn't speak. "How about this? We'll hold a shareholders meeting tomorrow and everyone can vote to decide." Su Xiao said, "I've already spoken with Sister Li and Brother Zhao, and they both agree." "So, you've already made your decision, and you're just informing me?" Cheng Yuan. "Okay," Cheng Yuan said. "We'll have a shareholders meeting tomorrow." He hung up the phone. Outside the window, it was already dark. Cheng Yuan sat in the coffee shop, watching the lights of the Yuanhang Group building light up one by one. He knew that tomorrow would be a tough battle, but he was ready. Tuesday morning, Yuan Xiao Technology Conference Room. The moment Cheng Yuan pushed open the door, he sensed the change in atmosphere. Zhou Ziheo sat in the seat that was originally his. Su Xiao sat to his left, and Sister Li from Finance and Brother Zhao from Operations sat to his right. The chair left for Cheng Yuan was at the very end of the conference table. "President Cheng is here." Zhou Ziheo greeted him with a smile. Have a seat. Chung Yuan didn't move. This is my seat. Zhou Ziheo's smile remained unchanged. Today we're discussing equity adjustments, and as a potential shareholder, it's convenient for me to sit here and chair the meeting. Mr. Chung, please bear with me. Ziheo, say less. Su Xiao stood up, walked to Chung Yuan's side, and lowered her voice. Honey, let's talk this out today. Don't throw a tantrum. Chung Yuan glanced at her, then walked to the last seat and sat down. Let's begin. Zhou Ziheo tapped the table. Today's meeting has only one agenda item. I will invest in Yuanshao Technology with a solution optimization service fee, acquiring a 20% stake. In exchange, I will assist the company in implementing the Yuanhang project and attract no less than 50 million in follow-up investment. He gestured to Attorney Wang to distribute the documents. This is the equity transfer agreement. Please take a look. Chung Yuan opened the agreement. The terms were beautifully written, but the core was just one clause. Zhou Ziheo would contribute intangible assets as equity, taking away 20% of the shares without paying a single penny. Moreover, this 20% of the shares would be diluted proportionally from Chung Yuan and Su Xiao's shares. Chung Yuan originally held 60% of the shares, while Su Xiao held 40%. After dilution, Chung Yuan had 48%, Su Xiao had 32%, and Zhou Ziheo had 20%. Chung Yuan became the single largest shareholder, but lost absolute control. I disagree. Chung Yuan closed the agreement. The meeting room fell silent. Zhou Ziheo's smile faded slightly. President Chung, what's the reason? I came up with a plan. But whether the service optimization is worth 20% of the shares needs to be evaluated. Chung Yuan said, moreover, even if we're going to take on shares, it should be in cash, not in the form of so-called service fees. Chung Yuan, Ziheo's optimization services helped us secure a project worth over 100 million. Isn't that worth 20% of the shares? Su Xiao couldn't help but ask. The project hasn't even been finalized yet, and the signing bonus hasn't arrived in our account. Chung Yuan looked at her. It's too early to talk about shares now. It's not early. Zhou Ziheo leaned forward. President Chung, to be honest with you, there are many people eyeing this Yuanhang project. I was able to help you secure it because of my relationship with President Zhang. But if there's internal discord during the execution process, President Zhang could replace you at any time. He paused, then emphasized, in other words, without me, even if you sign the contract, you won't be able to get this project done. A threat, a blatant threat. Finance managerly smoothed things over, saying, President Chung, Director Zhou is right. The project has just been signed, and we'll need to coordinate a lot of resources later. With Director Zhou here, we feel more at ease. Operations Manager Zhao nodded in agreement. Yes, President Chung, we could discuss the shares, but everyone has witnessed Director Zhou's capabilities. Chung Yuan looked at everyone in the conference room. Su Xiao's eyes were urgent, hoping he would compromise. Sister Li and brother Zhao exchanged glances, clearly having been persuaded by Zhou Ziheo. Zhou Ziheo leaned back in his chair, waiting for him to give in. What if I still disagree? Chung Yuan asked. Zhou Ziheo smiled. That's simple. He stood up. I'm withdrawing. You can handle the Yuanhang project yourselves. But I must remind you all, Mr. Zhang hates partners who are not united internally. If he knows that Yuanshao Technology can't even sort out its equity structure, he might reconsider the partnership. He looked at Su Xiao. Xiao, what do you think? Su Xiao's face turned pale. She looked at Chung Yuan, her eyes pleading. Honey, I'm begging you, please, for the sake of the company, for our future, please say yes. Chung Yuan looked at his wife. 3 years ago, she looked at him in the same way and said, Honey, let's mortgage the house. I believe in you, and I'm sure the company will succeed. At that time, her eyes were filled with complete trust. Now, all she sees is coercion. Okay, Chung Yuan said. I agree. Su Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. Zhou Ziheo smiled broadly. That's right, President Chung. For now on, we're family. But I have one condition. Chung Yuan added. You say, the shareholding change will be processed after the signing fee is received. Chung Yuan said. After all, the project hasn't really been launched yet. Zhou Ziheo's eyes flickered for a moment. Then he nodded. Okay, the signing bonus will definitely arrive within this week. Furthermore, Chung Yuan said, looking at Su Xiao, since Director Zhou wants to invest, all major decisions in the company should be discussed and decided by the 3 of us shareholders. I suggest we establish a 3-person decision-making group, and any expenditure exceeding 1 million should require the unanimous approval of the group. Su Xiao looked at Zhou Ziheo. Zhou Ziheo frowned. President Chung, is it that you don't trust me? These are basic rules of corporate governance. Cheng Yuan said calmly. Director Zhou has been in the investment industry for so many years. You should know more about them than I do. Zhou Zihao stared at Cheng Yuan for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled. Okay, we'll do as Mr. Cheng says. The meeting has ended. Zhou Zihao left with his lawyer. Su Xiao walked to Cheng Yuan's side, wanted to say something, but Cheng Yuan had already gotten up and walked towards his office. Honey, Su Xiao caught up with him. Are you still angry? Cheng Yuan stopped walking, but didn't turn around. Su Xiao, I only have one question for you. What? If one day you find out you were wrong, will you regret it? Su Xiao was stunned. Without waiting for her reply, Cheng Yuan went into his office and closed the door. Su Xiao stood outside the door for a long time before finally turning and leaving. Cheng Yuan sat at his desk and turned on his computer. There's a new email in my inbox from Attorney Han. The attached document contains the complete equity structure diagram of Zhou Zihao's shell company, as well as its cash flow statements for the past 6 months. The transaction records show that the shell company received a remittance of 3 million yuan from an overseas account 3 months ago. Remittance notes, preliminary project expenses. The remittance date happened to be the same week that Cheng Yuan started working on the plan. Cheng Yuan stared at the screen, his eyes cold. It turns out that Zhou Zihao had been planning this for a long time. He saved all the information, then turned on his phone and dialed a number. Hello, Mr. Zhang. This is Cheng Yuan. On the other end of the phone, Vice President Zhang of Yuan Hang Group sounded puzzled. Cheng Yuan, you are? The technical lead at Yuan Xiao Technology is also the original creator of the Smart Logistics Park solution you just signed. Mr. Zhang remained silent for a few seconds. Mr. Cheng, is there anything I can help you with? I'd like to schedule a time to meet with you in person to report some important information about the plan. Cheng Yuan said sincerely. This information could determine the success or failure of the project. Hasn't the plan already been presented? General Manager Zhang said. Director Zhou explained it very clearly, and we are very satisfied. Director Zhou reported on the optimized version. Cheng Yuan emphasized the word optimized. What I want to report is the original version, and some questions about the accuracy of the data. There was a noticeable pause in breathing on the other end of the phone. Data authenticity? Yes, Cheng Yuan said. I suggest that you familiarize yourself with the original plan's data model before signing the formal contract. After all, it's always better to be cautious with a 120 million project. Mr. Zhang remained silent for a long time. Come to my office at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhang. After hanging up the phone, Cheng Yuan leaned back in his chair and let out a long sigh. The fish is starting to bite. The next 2 days were calm and peaceful. On Thursday morning, Yuan Xiao Technology's corporate account received its first signing bonus from Yuan Hang Group. 20 million yuan. The entire company was in an uproar. Su Xiao immediately called Cheng Yuan, her voice trembling with excitement. Honey, the money's arrived. 20 million. The company is saved. Cheng Yuan was on his way to the Copyright Bureau. Okay, I understand. Why don't you seem happy at all? Su Xiao asked. Puzzled. I'm happy, Cheng Yuan said. Shall we celebrate tonight? Zihao has already booked the venue. Su Xiao said excitedly. It's in the Grand Hyatt Hotel's banquet hall. He's invited everyone from his company, and also some friends from the industry. Honey, you absolutely have to come. Good. Cheng Yuan hung up the phone and went into the Copyright Bureau. Half an hour later, he received the copyright registration certificate, official documents with red headers and the national emblem. The certificate clearly states, title of the work, comprehensive planning document for the Smart Logistics Park of Yuan Hang Group. Copyright holder, Cheng Yuan. Date of completion, 3 months ago. Registration date, today. Cheng Yuan took a photo of the certificate and sent it to Attorney Han. Then, he went to the Grand Hyatt Hotel. It wasn't a victory celebration banquet. Instead, they went to the hotel front desk and booked a small meeting room next to the banquet hall under the name of Cheng Yuan of Yuan Xiao Technology. We need projection and recording equipment starting at 8 p.m., he told the receptionist. Okay, Mr. Cheng. Cheng Yuan paid the deposit and left the hotel. In the afternoon, he went to Yuan Hang Group. Mr. Zhang's office is on the top floor, offering a panoramic view. When Cheng Yuan walked in, General Manager Zhang was looking at documents. Hello, Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang looked up and glanced at Cheng Yuan a few times. Sit. Cheng Yuan sat down and took out his laptop from his briefcase. Mr. Zhang, I won't beat around the bush. He turned on his computer and pulled up the original plan. This is the original version of the Smart Logistics Park plan, which I started working on 3 months ago. Mr. Zhang took the computer and flipped through the pages one by one. The more he looked, the more his brows furrowed. This is slightly different from the version that Director Zhou reported. It's very different, Chung Yuan said. The version optimized by Director Zhou has compressed the investment return cycle from 5 years to 3 years, increased revenue data by 40%, and replaced the technical solution with a more flashy and impractical concept. He flipped to the financial model page and pointed to several key data points. I have done detailed calculations on these data, and they're the optimal solutions based on the actual market situation. However, the data modified by Director Zhou has no calculation basis and is purely to make the plan look better. Mr. Zhang put down his laptop and looked at Chung Yuan. Mr. Chung, what do you mean by telling me all this? 2 things. Chung Yuan met his gaze. First, I hold the original copyright to the plan. Zhou Zihao modified and used my plan without my permission, which constitutes infringement. He took out a photocopy of the copyright registration certificate and placed it on the table. Secondly, if we follow Zhou Zihao's optimized version, the project will most likely fail because the data is inaccurate and the technical solution is not feasible. Mr. Zhang picked up the photocopy of the certificate and looked at it for a long time. Director Zhou said that the solution was developed by his team. He's lying. Chung Yuan pulled up a screenshot of the surveillance video. This is the surveillance footage from my company's office. It shows that my wife, Su Xiao, copied the complete plan without my knowledge and gave it to Zhou Zihao. He then retrieved the email timestamps, manuscript photos, and cloud backup records. These chains of evidence prove that the plan was my own creation. Mr. Zhang's expression gradually darkened as he looked at the evidence on the screen. Does Zhou Zihao know about this? He knew I wrote the plan, but he thought I had no evidence. Chung Yuan said. That's why he dared to report it so openly and even used it to blackmail me into investing in my company. Threat? Chung Yuan recounted the equity changes that had occurred over the past 2 days. After listening, Mr. Zhang remained silent for a long time. Finally, he asked, Mr. Chung, what do you hope to gain by telling me all this? I want fairness. Chung Yuan said, the plan is mine, and I should lead the project, not have it taken by someone who steals the results and falsifies data. But the contract has already been signed. Mr. Zhang said, although the legal effect of a letter of intent is not as strong as that of a formal contract, we will still be liable for breach of contract if we unilaterally breach it. What if the partner discovers serious copyright issues with the plan? Chung Yuan asked. According to the contract law, if a contract is entered into due to fraud by one party, the other party has the right to rescind it. Mr. Zhang's eyes sharpened. What do you mean? Tonight, at 8 o'clock, in the banquet hall of the Grand Hyatt Hotel, Zhou Zihao and my wife are having a celebration banquet. Chung Yuan said, I hope that you, Mr. Zhang, or someone you trust, can attend. Then what? Then I will expose him on the spot. Chung Yuan said calmly. At that time, Yuan Hang Group can formally withdraw its investment on the grounds that the plan has copyright flaws and data fraud. Mr. Zhang stared at Chung Yuan and suddenly smiled. Mr. Chung, you're using me to clean house. It's mutually beneficial. Chung Yuan said frankly, you get rid of a dishonest partner and avoid greater losses in the future. I get back what's rightfully mine. Mr. Zhang stood up, walked to the window, and looked at the traffic below. Zhou Zihao's brother-in-law is my wife's younger brother. He suddenly said, that's why I gave him a chance. Chung Yuan didn't reply, but my wife doesn't know how many shady things her brother has done behind my back. Mr. Zhang turned around, his eyes cold. That failed project last time was also introduced by him, causing the group to lose $30 million. He walked back to his desk and picked up the phone. Legal department? Prepare a withdrawal notice, stating that the partner's proposal has serious copyright issues and is suspected of data fabrication, constituting fraud. Notify the finance department to suspend subsequent payments. Also, send 2 people to the Grand Hyatt Hotel banquet hall at 8 p.m. tonight to collect evidence on site. After hanging up the phone, he looked at Chung Yuan. Mr. Chung, I will be there in person tonight. Hopefully your evidence is strong enough. Chung Yuan stood up. I won't let you down. After leaving Yuan Hang Group, Chung Yuan returned to his car. He glanced at the time. 5 p.m. There are still 3 hours before the celebration banquet begins. He opened his phone. Su Xiao had sent him several messages. Honey, where are you? The banquet starts at 6:30. Don't be late. Zihao invited a lot of industry bigwigs, so you better perform well and don't look so stern. By the way, Zaheo said he's going to announce his investment in the company publicly tonight. You'll have to cooperate. Chung Yuan did not reply. He started the car and drove towards the Grand Hyatt Hotel. On the way, he received a call from Attorney Han. Mr. Chung, all the legal documents are ready. The lawyer's letter, the copyright infringement complaint, and the list of evidence are all ready to be sent out at any time. In addition, I found out that Zhou Zaheo Shell Company had a large sum of money transferred out this afternoon to an overseas account. How many? 5 million. Attorney Han said. The note says project consulting fee. Chung Yuan's eyes turned cold. The signing bonus arrived in the morning, and 5 million was transferred out in the afternoon. I can't wait. Understood, he said. 8 o'clock tonight. Grand Hyatt Hotel. Proceed as planned. Clear. After hanging up the phone, Chung Yuan parked his car in the hotel's underground parking garage. He didn't go upstairs immediately, but instead sat in his car and opened his phone's photo album. There's an old photograph inside. This is a photo of him and Su Xiao in the office 3 years ago, when the company was first established. Both of them were laughing happily. Chung Yuan stared at it for a long time before finally turning off his phone. I pushed open the car door and headed for the elevator. The elevator ascends, and the numbers change. Chung Yuan looked at his reflection in the mirrored door. His eyes were calm and expressionless. He knew that, after tonight, some things would never be the same again, but he doesn't regret it. The elevator doors opened. The noise from the banquet hall was overwhelming. Checkpoint. When Chung Yuan entered the banquet hall, the celebration banquet had already reached its climax. The champagne tower shimmered under the lights, and Zhou Zaheo and Su Xiao were surrounded by a crowd in the center, laughing continuously. Zhou Zaheo was the first to see Chung Yuan. He raised his glass, his voice booming. Oh, Mr. Chung has finally arrived. Everyone, give him a round of applause to welcome our Yuan Shao Technologies technical lead, who is also the original author of the solution. That's a sarcastic remark. Sparse applause rang out from around them. Su Xiao walked over quickly, grabbed Chung Yuan's arm, and complained in a low voice. Why did you take so long? Zaheo was just looking for you. There was a traffic jam on the road. Chung Yuan said, all right, come here quickly. Su Xiao pulled him to the center. Zaheo is about to announce some good news. Zhou Zaheo clapped his hands, and the whole room fell silent. Friends and colleagues, thank you all for attending tonight. He smiled broadly. The Yuanhang Group's Smart Logistics Park project has been officially signed today. The contract amount is 120 million yuan. Thunderous applause erupted. Zhou Zaheo continued. This project is the result of the joint efforts of myself and the Yuan Shao technology team. In particular, Ms. Su Xiao's trust and support were crucial. He looked at Su Xiao with tender eyes. Su Xiao's cheeks flushed slightly, and she lowered her head. Chung Yuan stood to the side, expressionless. Of course, there's also President Chung. Zhou Zaheo changed the subject. Although the plan has been optimized by our team, the original framework was indeed built by President Chung. He walked up to Chung Yuan, raised his glass, and said, Mr. Chung, let me toast you. From now on, we're partners. Let's work together to make the company bigger and stronger. Chung Yuan didn't move. Zhou Zaheo's smile froze for a moment. President Chung, are you not giving me face? It's not that I'm being disrespectful, Chung Yuan said, his voice not loud, but loud enough for everyone to hear. It's just that there are some things that haven't been made clear yet. Su Xiao's expression changed, and she grabbed him. Chung Yuan, what are you doing? Zhou Zaheo's eyes turned cold. What does President Chung want to say? Chung Yuan took an envelope out of the inside pocket of his suit. Before we drink, I'd like to show you something. He opened the envelope and took out a document. Red header, national emblem, clear large characters, copyright registration certificate for works. Chung Yuan held up the certificate, facing the entire audience. This is the copyright registration certificate for the comprehensive planning document for the Yuanhang Group Smart Logistics Park. Copyright holder, Chung Yuan. Registration date, today. The entire room fell silent. The smile on Zhou Zaheo's face vanished completely. Su Xiao stared wide-eyed at the certificate, her lips trembling. Husband, what? What do you mean by this? Chung Yuan didn't look at her, but looked at Zhou Zaheo instead. Director Zhou, you said the solution was optimized by your team. So, may I ask, is it possible to optimize someone else's work without the copyright holder's permission and then use it to sign a contract for profit? Does this constitute copyright infringement? Zhou Zaheo's face paled, but he forced a cold laugh. Chung Yuan, don't give me that. The proposal is a work made for hire, and the copyright belongs to the company. What's the point of you registering it personally? Work done for hire? Chung Yuan pulled another document out of the envelope. This is my employment contract with the company. Oh no, I don't have an employment contract. He looked at Su Xiao. President Su, when the company was registered 3 years ago, you said that a husband and wife business doesn't need to sign a contract. Do you remember? Su Xiao opened her mouth, but couldn't say a word. Therefore, I am not a company employee, and this project is not a work created for a company. Chung Yuan said calmly, it is a personal work that I created independently in my spare time. Zhou Ziheo's breathing quickened. You planned this all along? A plan? Chung Yuan laughed. I'm just protecting my legal rights. He stepped forward, getting closer to Zhou Ziheo. Director Zhou, you not only infringed on my rights, but you also tampered with my core data. The investment return period was changed from 5 years to 3 years. Revenue data was inflated by 40%, and the technical solution was replaced with an unfeasible concept. This is fraud. Zhou Ziheo took a half step back, his voice trembling. You're talking nonsense. The data has been calculated. Calculation? Chung Yuan pulled a USB drive from his pocket. Do you need me to demonstrate the original data model on the spot? Just then, the banquet hall doors were pushed open. 2 men in suits, carrying briefcases, walked in and went straight to Zhou Ziheo. Mr. Zhou Ziheo, we are from the legal department of Yuan Hang Group. One of them handed over a document. This is the withdrawal notice that the group just issued. Due to serious copyright issues and suspected data fabrication in the proposal you provided, constituting fraud, Yuan Hang Group has decided to unilaterally terminate the cooperation and withdraw all investment. At the same time, we reserve the right to pursue your legal responsibility. The document landed in Zhou Ziheo's hand with a thud. He looked down at the words, his hands beginning to tremble. Su Xiao rushed over, snatched the document, glanced at it, and screamed, withdrawal of investment? Why? Didn't President Zhang already agree? The legal department staff looked at her. Ms. Su Xiao, Mr. Zhang asked me to pass on a message to you. What did you say? He said, there are some kinds of money you shouldn't earn. Su Xiao was struck dumb, frozen in place. Zhou Ziheo suddenly looked up at Chung Yuan, his eyes filled with resentment. It was you. It was you who did this. Chung Yuan ignored him and instead looked at the stunned guests in the room. Everyone, the victory celebration banquet tonight may not be able to take place because Yuan Shao Technology is about to go bankrupt. The moment the words left his mouth, Assistant Chun stumbled into the banquet hall, his face ashen. President Su, Director Zhou, something's happened. Just received notification. All our partners have withdrawn their investment. The other party's legal department sent a formal letter pointing out that the proposal has serious copyright issues. The company is going bankrupt. The audience erupted in uproar. The wine glass in Su Zhao's hand shattered on the ground with a crack. The color drained completely from Zhou Ziheo's face. Chung Yuan slowly put away the copyright certificate and looked at the 2 people whose faces were ashen. The banquet hall remained deathly silent for a full 10 seconds. Then it exploded. Withdrawal of investment? Bankruptcy? Didn't you just say 120 million? Copyright issue? Didn't Director Zhou say the plan was done by his team? What exactly is going on? The guests whispered among themselves, their gazes shifting from envy to suspicion, and then to amusement at the spectacle as they looked at Zhou Ziheo and Su Xiao. Zhou Ziheo suddenly grabbed the arm of the legal department employee. Where's General Manager Zhang? I need to see General Manager Zhang. There must be some misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. The legal department representative shook off his hand. President Zhang has reviewed the original proposal and data model and confirmed that the version you provided, Mr. Zhou, contains serious fabrications. Furthermore, regarding the copyright dispute concerning the proposal, the group does not wish to get involved, so we have decided to withdraw our investment immediately. Impossible, Zhou Ziheo roared. Zhang's brother-in-law. He abruptly stopped talking halfway through his sentence, but it was too late. The legal department representative's eyes sharpened. Mr. Zhou, what are you trying to say? What does Mr. Zhang's brother-in-law have to do with this? Zhou Ziheo's face turned pale, and he retreated repeatedly. Su Xiao rushed up to him and grabbed his collar. Ziheo, what exactly happened? Didn't you say everything was foolproof? Why did President Zhang withdraw his investment? Why does Chung Yuan have a copyright certificate? Her voice was shrill and choked with sobs. Zhou Ziheo shoved her away. How should I know? It's your husband who's behind this. He pointed at Chung Yuan, his eyes bloodshot. Chung Yuan, you planned this all along, didn't you? You deliberately let me take the proposal, deliberately waited for me to sign the contract, and then leaked it now. You wanted to ruin me, ruin the company. Chung Yuan looked at his hysterical state and spoke calmly. What have I planned? I plan to protect my work from being stolen. The plan is to prevent anyone from deceiving our partners with false data. The plan is to hold those who should be held accountable. With each word he spoke, Zhou Ziheo's face paled a little more. The surrounding guests understood as well. So the plan really was written by Chung Yuan. Zhou Ziheo stole someone else's plan and even altered the data to fraudulently secure a contract? That's too ruthless. If this project actually goes through, it will bankrupt Yuanhang Group. No wonder they withdrew their investment. Who would dare to cooperate with them? The comments were like knives, cutting into Zhou Ziheo's body. He turned abruptly, intending to rush out of the banquet hall. But the Ministry of Justice stopped him. Mr. Zhou, please wait a moment. We may need your cooperation in investigating the issue of falsified data in the proposal. Investigate what? I didn't fabricate anything. Zhou Ziheo roared. The data is reasonable. Chung Yuan is slandering me. Reasonable? Chung Yuan walked to the projector and inserted the USB drive. On the large screen, a comparison chart of the two proposals appeared. The original version is on the left, and Zhou Ziheo's optimized version is on the right. Chung Yuan pointed to the key data with a laser pointer. The investment return cycle has been changed from 5 years to 3 years. My calculations are based on this. He pulled up a densely packed data table showing market growth rates, cost curves, and cash flow forecasts. And Director Zhou, what's the basis for your calculations? Zhou Ziheo opened his mouth, but couldn't say a word. The revenue figures have been revised upwards by 40%. Chung Yuan then pulled up a market research report. This is an industry report issued by a third-party organization, showing that the average revenue growth rate for similar projects is 15% to 20%. How did you calculate your 40%? I have internal data, Zhou Ziheo insisted. Internal data? Chung Yuan laughed. Then please produce it for us to verify on the spot. Zhou Ziheo stood frozen in place. He can't produce it because there simply isn't one. Technical solution. Chung Yuan turned to the next page. My design is a hybrid cloud architecture, balancing cost and security. Your optimized version uses a full cloud architecture, which doubles the cost, but actually reduces security. He retrieved the technical assessment report. These are quotes and assessments from 3 IT service providers. A full cloud architecture is not suitable for Far Eastern Group's existing systems. Enforcing its implementation would lead to data silos and system crashes. The evidence, page by page, line by line, was presented to everyone. Zhou Ziheo's optimization turned out to be blatant fabrication in the face of professional data. The guests' gazes toward him had turned to disdain. This isn't optimization. It's just reckless modification. They'll even fabricate data to make the plan look good. If Far Eastern Air Transport Group really follows this plan, it will suffer huge losses. Su Xiao stared blankly at the big screen, then looked at Zhou Ziheo, and then at Chung Yuan. She suddenly rushed over and grabbed Chung Yuan's arm. Husband, you knew all along? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Chung Yuan looked at her red eyes and asked, if I told you, would you believe me? Su Xiao was stunned. 3 days ago, I asked you if Zhou Ziheo was trying to harm us. What would you choose? Chung Yuan's voice was very soft. You said, there are no ifs. Su Xiao's hand loosened little by little. She remembered the look in Chung Yuan's eyes that day. I recall the seriousness with which he asked that question. I recall my impatience at the time. I don't know. She murmured. I thought Ziheo was helping us. He's doing it for himself. Chung Yuan said. He's helping himself get the proposal. Helping himself earn service fees. And paving the way for the transfer of benefits between himself and your brother-in-law. Brother-in-law? Su Xiao asked blankly. A representative from the legal department stated. Zhou Ziheo's shell company has shares held by Mr. Zhang's brother-in-law. If the project is signed, they can easily transfer profits during subsequent financial operations. Su Xiao felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She turned abruptly to Zhou Ziheo. Ziheo, is what he said true? Zhou Ziheo turned his face away, not daring to look at her. Say something. Su Xiao screamed. Did you plan this all along? You made me steal the plan, made me sign it, made me persuade Chung Yuan to let you invest that all for this. Zhou Ziheo was cornered and suddenly erupted. So what if I am? Su Xiao, don't play innocent. Don't you want this project too? Don't you want the company to turn things around? I got the project for you. You should thank me, but you lied to me. Tears welled up in Su Xiao's eyes. You lied to me and said the plan was fine. You lied to me and said the data was real. You lied to me and said President Zhang was very satisfied. If I weren't lying to you, would you have signed? Zhou Zihao sneered. Su Xiao, you're too naive. The business world is like a battlefield. Everyone lies. Blame your husband for being too serious. If he had cooperated obediently, the money would be in his hands by now. These words completely severed all pretense of civility. Su Xiao collapsed to the ground, covering her face and weeping bitterly. Cheng Yuan looked at her with a complicated expression, but in the end, he looked away. He looked at the legal department staff. Do I need to cooperate with the divestment process? Yes, we need to. The legal department representative nodded. Mr. Chung, Mr. Zhang would like to discuss the follow-up actions with you privately. Also, regarding Mr. Zhou Zihao's alleged fraud and infringement, we suggest you report it to the police. Call the police? Zhou Zihao looked up abruptly. Cheng Yuan, how dare you? Cheng Yuan ignored him and instead took out his phone and dialed 110. Hello, I want to report crime. Commercial fraud. Copyright infringement. Involving 120 million yuan. The location is the banquet hall of the Grand Hyatt Hotel. He gave the address and hung up the phone. Zhou Zihao panicked completely. He rushed over to snatch Cheng Yuan's phone, but was stopped by the legal department staff. Cheng Yuan, do you have to be so ruthless? He roared. I can compensate you. How much do you want? 500,000? 1 million? Cheng Yuan looked at him and shook his head. Some things can't be solved with money. For example, trust. For example, the bottom line. The sound of sirens grew louder as they approached. When the police entered the banquet hall, Zhou Zihao was already slumped in a chair, his face ashen. Su Xiao was still crying on the ground, her makeup completely ruined. Most of the guests had already quietly left, leaving only a few who wanted to see the ending, and employees of Yuanshao Technology. Cheng Yuan handed over the evidence to the police. Copyright certificate, comparison diagram of the plan, proof of data fraud, equity structure, and cash flow of Zhou Zihao's shell company. After reading the document, the police officer looked at Zhou Zihao and said, Mr. Zhou, please come with us to the station to cooperate with the investigation. When Zhou Zihao was taken away, his legs were weak. As he passed Su Xiao, he suddenly stopped and whispered, Xiao Xiao, I'm sorry. Su Xiao didn't look up, but her crying grew even louder. After Zhou Zihao was taken away, the police questioned Su Xiao and Cheng Yuan. Su Xiao was incoherent, only saying that she had been deceived by Zhou Zihao and did not know that the plan was stolen or that the data was fake. After the police finished taking notes, they looked at Cheng Yuan and said, Mr. Cheng, as the copyright holder and the whistleblower, you also need to give a statement. Good. Cheng Yuan followed the police out. As she passed by Su Xiao, she suddenly grabbed his trouser leg. Husband, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Cheng Yuan stopped and looked down at her. Su Xiao looked up, her face a mixture of tears and snot, looking utterly disheveled. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I just wanted the company to be okay. I wanted us to be okay. Cheng Yuan was silent for a few seconds, then squatted down and pried her hands open. Su Xiao, he called her by her full name. 3 years ago, you said you believed in me. 3 years later, you believed Zhou Zihao. It's not that his deception was particularly clever. You never believed me from the very beginning. Su Xiao froze. Cheng Yuan stood up and left with the police. Only Su Xiao and a few employees who hadn't left remained in the banquet hall. Assistant Xiao Chan approached cautiously and asked, President Su, what about the company? Su Xiao looked up blankly. Company? Yes, the company, Yuanshao Technology. There was still 20 million yuan in signing fees in the account, but with Far East Shipping withdrawing its investment, this money will soon be recovered. The company's monthly operating costs are 300.000 yuan, and they can't even pay next month's salaries. There are also outstanding payments to suppliers. Office rent. Su Xiao suddenly stood up and rushed towards the elevator. She had to go to the company to deal with the situation and to find a solution. But when the elevator doors opened, she saw 2 people standing inside, finance manager sister Li and operations manager brother Zhao. Both of them were carrying cardboard boxes containing their personal belongings. Sister Li, brother Zhao, what's going on here? Su Xiao was stunned. Sister Li sighed. President Su, with the company in this state, we need to find another job. You're resigning? Su Xiao asked in disbelief. The company needs you most right now. And you're leaving? Brother Zhao gave a wry smile. President Su, it's not that we don't want to stay. It's just that, is there any point in keeping the company here? Yuanhang has withdrawn its investment. Zhou Zihao has been arrested. And it looks like President Cheng won't be coming back. The company is just an empty shell, and it's piled up with debt. What's the point of us staying? We can figure something out. Su Xiao grabbed Sister Li's arm. Sister Li, you're in finance. You know best. There's still money in the company's accounts. We can. Money? Sister Li shook her head. President Su. That 20 million was a signing bonus. Yuan Hang withdrew its investment, and they'll definitely try to get it back. Even if they don't get it all back. We breached the contract first, so we'll have to pay a huge sum. Will the rest be enough to pay salaries? Enough to cover rent? Su Xiao was speechless. Sister Li and brother Zhao walked past her and entered the elevator. The elevator doors closed. Standing in the empty corridor, Su Xiao suddenly felt a chill run through her body. She took out her phone, intending to call Chung Yuan, but after hovering his finger over the dial key for a long time, he ultimately didn't press it. She recalled the look in Chung Yuan's eyes just now. Calm, detached, like looking at a stranger. She knew that some things could never be regained. Police station, interrogation room. When Chung Yuan finished giving his statement, it was already 11 p.m. Attorney Han was waiting for him at the door. Mr. Chung, Zhou Zihao has been criminally detained. The police have preliminarily determined that he is suspected of contract fraud and copyright infringement, involving a huge amount of money, and is expected to be imprisoned for several years. Chung Yuan nodded. What about the Far Eastern Air Transport Group? Mr. Zhang just called me. Attorney Han said, he thanked you for exposing Zhou Zihao in time, preventing greater losses for the group. Regarding the withdrawal of investment, they will handle it according to the contract terms and recover the signing fee. But they will not pursue Yuan Shao Technologies' liability for breach of contract that, after all, they don't want to escalate the matter and involve the brother-in-law. Chung Yuan understood. This was Mr. Zhang's compromise, and also his way of protecting himself. Furthermore, Mr. Zhang said he is very interested in your original proposal. Attorney Han paused. He asked if you were willing, Yuan Hang Group could hire you as a project consultant to continue advancing the Smart Logistics Park project. Of course, this would be in your personal capacity and would have nothing to do with Yuan Shao Technology. Chung Yuan remained silent for a few seconds. I'll think about it. Okay. Attorney Han handed him a document. This is the asset freeze order for Zhou Zihao's shell company. The court has accepted our application for property preservation, and all his assets, including the 5 million yuan that was transferred out, will be recovered. Chung Yuan took the document and glanced at it. What about Su Xiao? Attorney Han asked. As the company's legal representative, she may be held jointly liable, although the primary responsibility lies with Zhou Zihao. She was the one who signed the document. Chung Yuan didn't speak. Attorney Han sighed. Mr. Chung, I know you may still have some lingering feelings, but the law is the law. If you want to help her, it's best to get her to liquidate the company as soon as possible. Pay what she owes, and then deregister it. That way, she can retain some assets. I will tell her, Chung Yuan said. After leaving the police station, Chung Yuan drove home. That was the home where he and Su Xiao lived for 3 years. Pushing open the door, the room was pitch black. He turned on the light and saw Su Xiao sitting on the sofa, her eyes red and swollen, staring blankly ahead. 2 documents were placed on the coffee table. One is a divorce agreement. One document is the company's liquidation plan. Chung Yuan walked over and picked up the divorce agreement. Su Xiao has already signed the document. In the property division section, it reads, the house goes to Chung Yuan, and the company's debts go to Su Xiao. Chung Yuan put down the agreement and looked at her. The company has at least 5 million in debt. Can you afford it? Su Xiao's voice was hoarse. I have to bear it even if I can't. I'm the one who ruined the company with my signature. The responsibility lies with me. She looked up at Chung Yuan, and tears fell again. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm really so stupid. Chung Yuan sat down opposite her. Su Xiao, we've been married for 5 years and worked at the company for 3. For the past 3 years, I've only slept 4 or 5 hours a day, thinking about how to keep the company alive. You said you wanted a big house and children, and I've kept that in mind. But I never expected that what would ultimately shake you wouldn't be the pressure of life. A few nice words from others. Su Xiao covered her face, her shoulders trembling. Zhou Zihao said that I am too conservative and do not know how to be flexible. He said that the capital market needs boldness, not rigidity. He said he could help us. I believe you. She choked up. Because I wanted to succeed so badly. I wanted to prove myself so badly. I felt you'd worked so hard these past 3 years, and I wanted to help you share the burden. I wanted the company to recover quickly, so you chose the shortcut. Chung Yuan continued. You chose to trust an outsider instead of your husband. Su Xiao was speechless. Su Xiao, I will take over the company and liquidate it. Chung Yuan said, I will handle the debts. You can keep the house. Su Xiao suddenly looked up. No, I'm the one who ruined the company. I can't let you. I'm not doing this for you. Cheng Yuan interrupted her. I'm doing it for those 3 years. We really fought together for those 3 years. Although the ending was not good, I don't want to completely deny the process. Su Xiao stared at him blankly, tears streaming down her face. As for the divorce, Cheng Yuan picked up the agreement, tore it in half. Let's not rush it. We'll talk again once you've finished dealing with your own issues and truly thought things through. He stood up and walked toward the bedroom. He stopped at the door without turning around. Su Xiao, life is long. It's not terrible to take a wrong step. What's scary is not knowing where you went wrong. Think about it carefully. The bedroom door was closed. In the living room, Su Xiao looked at the 2 torn-up agreements and finally burst into tears. This time, the tears weren't for grievances or fear. It was regret. A week later, Cheng Yuan sat in the office of General Manager Zhang of Yuan Hang Group. 2 contracts were laid out on the table. One document is the Project Consultant Employment Agreement, in which Yuan Hang Group hires Cheng Yuan as the chief consultant for the Smart Logistics Park project, responsible for the implementation of the solution and the technical architecture, with an annual salary of 2 million yuan and project bonuses to be calculated separately. One document is a copyright license agreement, under which Yuan Hang Group obtains the right to use Cheng Yuan's solution for a license fee of 3 million yuan, payable in a lump sum. After signing the contract, General Manager Zhang pushed it to Cheng Yuan. Mr. Cheng, it's a pleasure doing business with you. Cheng Yuan signed the document and shook hands. Furthermore, regarding Zhou Ziheo's case, Mr. Zhang said, the police have confirmed that he is not only suspected of contract fraud and copyright infringement, but also of money laundering and embezzlement. His previous investment company has also been found to have many problems. It's estimated he won't be out for at least 7 or 8 years. Cheng Yuan nodded. His shell company's assets have all been frozen. Mr. Zhang paused. I've also dealt with my brother-in-law's situation. His shares have been liquidated. He's been sent abroad, and he won't be involved in the group's affairs anymore. These words were spoken to Cheng Yuan, but also to himself. Cheng Yuan didn't reply. Some things are better left unsaid. After leaving Yuan Hang Group, Cheng Yuan went to Yuanshao Technology. The company has been emptied out. Office equipment was sold off. Employees were laid off, and the office lease was terminated. Su Xiao was doing a final check of the items. Upon seeing Cheng Yuan, she paused for a moment, then lowered her head. Everything's been taken care of, she said. The supplier's debts have been paid off using the company's remaining assets and part of the 20 million yuan signing bonus. Employee salaries have also been settled. The office deposit has been refunded, and we'll even get a small portion back. She handed me a bank card. Inside is the remaining money, about 800,000. Cheng Yuan didn't answer. Keep it. No way. Su Xiao insisted. I'm the one who ruined the company. I can't take this money. Then consider a loan. Cheng Yuan said, you can pay me back when you find a new job. Su Xiao looked at him, her eyes reddening again, but she held back. She cried too much this week. Now, it's time to stand up. Cheng Yuan. She called his name. Thank you. Cheng Yuan didn't speak. I booked a flight to Shenzhen the day after tomorrow. Su Xiao said, a college classmate of mine started a company there and asked me to go help him out. I want a change of scenery, a fresh start. Cheng Yuan nodded. All right. The two stood in the empty office, speechless for a moment. 3 years of hard work have vanished into thin air. Strangely, Cheng Yuan didn't feel too sad. On the contrary, it gave me a sense of relief. Cheng Yuan, Su Xiao suddenly asked, if we hadn't started our business 3 years ago and had just worked regular jobs, would things be different now? Cheng Yuan thought for a moment and shook his head. There are no ifs. What's done is done. The important thing is, what's next? Su Xiao smiled, a smile tinged with bitterness and relief. You're right. She picked up the last small cardboard box and walked towards the door. She stopped and turned around when she reached the door. Cheng Yuan, take care. The same to you. The door closed. Cheng Yuan stood by the window, looking down at the bustling traffic below. My phone rang. It's Attorney Han. Mr. Cheng, there are 2 things. First, of the 5 million Zhou Ziheo owed, 3 million has been recovered. He squandered the other 2 million, but the court has seized his property and car. The proceeds should be made up after the auction. Secondly, the copyright infringement lawsuit has been decided by the court. Zhou Ziheo has compensated you for economic losses and emotional distress, totaling 1.2 million yuan. The money has already been transferred to your account. Chung Yuan looked at the new numbers that had arrived in his mobile banking app. 1,200,000. In addition, there was the 3 million license fee and 2 million annual salary from Far Eastern Group. He had 6.2 million. Compared to when I mortgaged my house to start a business 3 years ago, it's much more, but we also lost a lot. Furthermore, Attorney Han said, Ms. Su Xiao just called me and said she's willing to give up all her shares in the company and leave with nothing. She asked me to tell you that she will repay what she owes you gradually. Chung Yuan remained silent for a few seconds. Tell her she doesn't need to pay it back. The divorce agreement. Let's leave it for now. Chung Yuan said, we'll talk about it when she's thought it through. After hanging up the phone, Chung Yuan walked out of the office. The building management is changing the locks. Upon seeing Chung Yuan, he greeted him. Mr. Chung, are you done moving? All moved. Will you come back in the future? Chung Yuan looked at the familiar house number and shook his head. I'm not coming back. He stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the first floor. As the elevator descended, he recalled the scene 3 years ago when he and Su Xiao first came to see this office. At that time, Su Xiao excitedly said, Honey, we're going to make a name for ourselves here. He said, Okay, now, they haven't managed to break through the sky, but the person is still here. The elevator doors opened. Chung Yuan walked out, and the sun was shining brightly. He took out his phone and dialed a number. Mr. Zhang, it's me, Chung Yuan. I have a new idea regarding the technical architecture of the Smart Logistics Park project. When are you free so we can talk? On the other end of the phone, Mr. Zhang laughed heartily. I'm free right now. Consultant Chung, come to my office. Let's plan this out properly. Chung Yuan hung up the phone and walked towards the parking lot. He glanced at the rearview mirror as he started the car. In the mirror, the building recedes into the distance. He didn't turn around. 3 months later, the Smart Logistics Park project has been officially launched. Chung Yuan, as the chief consultant, led the technical team of Yuan Hang Group and was stationed at the project site. The plan proceeded according to his original design. The data was accurate. The technology was feasible, and the progress was faster than expected. When General Manager Zhang came to inspect, he patted Chung Yuan on the shoulder and said, Advisor Chung, you're the most reliable one. If I had known this would happen, I would have come directly to you in the first place, saving me from going through so much trouble. Chung Yuan smiled but didn't reply. Some detours are only worthwhile once you've taken them. During his lunch break, Chung Yuan received a WeChat message. It's Su Xiao. She sent me a photo of the Shenzhen-based seascape. The caption reads, My new job is going well, and my colleagues are great. The weather here is lovely, and the sea is so blue. Chung Yuan replied, That's good. A while later, Su Xiao sent another message. Chung Yuan, I went to see a psychologist yesterday. The doctor said that what I have is called over-reliance on external approval. She said, I was too eager to prove myself and too eager to gain the approval of others, which is why I easily believed those who seemed impressive. She said, I need to learn to believe in myself. Chung Yuan looked at the message, typed a few words, and then deleted it. Finally, he only replied with one sentence. Take your time. Su Xiao did not reply. Chung Yuan put down his phone and walked to a high point on the project site. Before us, the land has been leveled, pile drivers are roaring, and workers are busy and orderly. This is his design, and it's becoming a reality. Assistant Xiao, Chun rushed over. Panting, Consultant Chung, you have a package. Chung Yuan took it. It was a file folder. Open it, and inside is an equity transfer agreement. Transfer, Su Xiao. Transferee, Chung Yuan. 30% equity interest in Yuan Xiao Technology. Transfer price, 0 yuan. Attached is a note. Chung Yuan, I'm giving you the remaining shares of the company. I know you don't lack this money, but this is your hard work, and it should be returned to you. Also, I'm getting married next month. The other person is my colleague. He's a very nice, reliable, and dependable person. I won't invite you to the wedding. I don't want you to feel awkward. I wish you all the best. Su Xiao. Chung Yuan stared at the agreement for a long time. Finally, he signed his name, then put the agreement back into the document bag and handed it to Xiao Chun. Please send this to Attorney Han and ask him to handle the equity transfer. Okay. After Xiao Chun left, Chung Yuan stood on a high place, looking into the distance. The sky is very blue, and the clouds are very white. The wind blows by, carrying the smell of earth and steel bars. He recalled the night of the victory celebration 3 months ago. I remembered the wine glass that Su Xiao had smashed. I recalled Zhou Zi's pale face. I recalled my assistant Xiao Chen's flustered report. I recall the moment I showed my copyright certificate. Everything seems like it happened yesterday, but also feels like a long time has passed. The phone rang again. This time it's General Manager Zhang. Consultant Chung. There's an industry networking event tonight. Several executives from large corporations are attending and are very interested in your project. Could you come over and explain it to them? Chung Yuan checked the time. Okay, I'll arrange my work and then head over. Oh, right. Mr. Zhang added. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Zhou Ziheo's verdict has been delivered. 8 years. Chung Yuan paused. New. Furthermore, his shell company was found to be involved in several other fraud cases, with a total amount exceeding 30 million yuan. Mr. Zhang said. Now, he's completely finished. Chung Yuan didn't speak. Mr. Zhang sighed. Consultant Chung. Sometimes I wonder, what would things be like now if you hadn't stood up for me back then? Chung Yuan thought for a moment. Perhaps the project has already been abandoned. Perhaps Far Eastern Group lost several hundred million. Perhaps Zhou Ziheo is taking the money and getting away with it. Perhaps Su Xiao and I are still blaming each other. But thankfully, there's no maybe. Mr. Zhang smiled. You're right. See you tonight. See you tonight. After hanging up the phone, Chung Yuan walked down from the high place. The workers are having lunch at the construction site. Upon seeing him, everyone greeted him. Advisor Chung. Chung Yuan nodded in response. He walked to the project department's temporary office and turned on his computer. There was a new email in my inbox, sent by the Human Resources Department of Far Eastern Group. Clicking on it reveals the official employment notice. Position: Group Vice President of Technology. Annual salary: 5 million. Dividends: 5% of project profits. Chung Yuan looked at the line of numbers and smiled. 3 years ago, when he mortgaged his house to start a business, he planned to stop once he earned 5 million. Now, a 5 million annual salary is laid out before him, but he wasn't very excited. Instead, there's a kind of calm that comes naturally. He replied to the email, accepted. Thank you. Then, I turned off the computer and left the office. On the construction site, the sound of pile drivers was deafening, but Chung Yuan thought the voice was very pleasant to hear. Because this is the voice of construction, is the sound of rebirth. 6 months later, the first phase of the Smart Logistics Park project has been completed. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, General Manager Zhang handed the scissors to Chung Yuan. Mr. Chung, come here. Chung Yuan took it and cut the red silk. Thunderous applause erupted. Reporters pointed their cameras at him, and flashes went off everywhere. Mr. Chung, as the chief designer of this project, what are your thoughts? Chung Yuan looked at the brand new park in front of him and thought for a moment. My takeaway is that doing projects is like being a person. Be down to earth, be genuine, and live up to the trust placed in you. The reporter pressed further. I heard this project was almost scammed by a fake proposal. Is that true? Chung Yuan smiled. Real. But what's fake can never become real. After the ceremony, Chung Yuan returned to his office. An invitation was placed on the table. Su Xiao's wedding invitation. He opened it, and inside were wedding photos of Su Xiao and another man. The man looked to be in his 30s, wore glasses, and had a gentle smile. Su Xiaoyi nestled beside him, smiling sweetly. The invitation read, Chung Yuan, we still want to invite you. It's not showing off. It's not a protest. I wanted to show you that I've really moved on. I also wanted to tell you in person. Thank you. The wedding date is next Saturday. Chung Yuan put the invitation into the drawer. Then, he turned on his computer and began writing a new proposal. Phase 2 expansion plan for Smart Logistics Park. I was halfway through writing when my phone rang. It's Attorney Han. Mr. Chung, Zhou Ziheo's appeal has been rejected. The original sentence remains unchanged. 8 years. In addition, he attempted suicide in prison but was saved. He is now in very poor mental condition and may need to be transferred to a mental hospital for treatment. Chung Yuan remained silent for a few seconds. No, there's one more thing. Attorney Han said, are you attending Ms. Su Zhao's wedding? It's not decided yet. I suggest you go. Attorney Han said, not for her sake, but for your own. How so? Some things you have to see with your own eyes before you can truly let go of them. Chung Yuan didn't speak. Attorney Han continued, Mr. Chung, you've done a fantastic job these past 6 months. The project was successful. You got promoted, and you made money. But is there something still weighing on your mind? Chung Yuan looked out the window. Trucks were coming and going in the park, creating a bustling scene. Maybe, he said. Then let's go. Attorney Han said, if we go, maybe we'll let it go. After hanging up the phone, Chung Yuan continued writing the proposal. But after writing a few words, he stopped. He opened the drawer and took out the invitation. I watched it for a long time. Saturday, Shenzhen. The wedding was held at a seaside hotel. When Chung Yuan arrived, the ceremony had already begun. He stood at the very back, watching Su Xiao, dressed in a wedding gown, walk hand in hand with that man towards the stage. She had a beautiful smile. She was a completely different person from the woman who broke down in tears in the banquet hall 6 months ago. BMC asked, Ms. Su Xiao, do you take this man beside you to be your husband, to love and respect him, to cherish him in sickness and in health, for better or for worse? Until death do you part? Su Xiao looked at the man beside her, her voice clear. I do. Applause erupted. Cheng Yuan also clapped. The ceremony concluded, and the banquet began. Su Xiao and the groom came to offer toasts. Upon seeing Cheng Yuan, Su Xiao paused for a moment, then smiled. You really came. Cheng Yuan raised his glass. Congratulations. The groom also raised his glass. Mr. Cheng, I've heard so much about you. Xiao Xiao often mentions you, saying you're the most talented person she's ever met. Cheng Yuan smiled and said, you flatter me. The three clinked glasses. Su Xiao looked at Cheng Yuan with clear eyes. Cheng Yuan, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Thank you for not giving up on me back then. Su Xiao said, although you tore up the divorce papers and left me to deal with the mess myself, which seemed cruel. I know you wanted me to stand up on my own. She paused, her voice slightly choked. I've learned something in the past 6 months. I've learned to believe in myself, to be down to earth, and to cherish those who are truly good to me. She held the groom's hand tightly. The groom gently patted the back of her hand. Cheng Yuan looked at them and nodded. That's good. After toasting, Su Xiao and the groom went to the next table. Cheng Yuan sat back down and looked out at the sea. The sea was very blue, and the sun was shining brightly. The weight that had been pressing on his heart for half a year suddenly lifted. It's not that I've let go. I feel relieved. After the banquet ended, Cheng Yuan prepared to leave. Su Xiao chased after him and called out to him. Cheng Yuan. Cheng Yuan turned around. Su Xiao ran over and handed him a small box. A wedding gift, she said with a smile. It's not something expensive, just a little something. Cheng Yuan opened it. It is a fountain pen. A line of small characters is engraved on the pen. Work diligently and be a genuine person. Cheng Yuan smiled. Thanks, Cheng Yuan, Su Xiao said earnestly, looking at him. I hope you will be happy too. Cheng Yuan nodded. I will. He turned and left. As he reached the hotel entrance, he glanced back. Su Xiao was still standing there, waving at him. He waved back. Then, I got into the car. The car drove away from the hotel and headed towards the airport. On the way, Cheng Yuan took out his phone and booked a return flight. Then, he opened his email and saw a new message. It was sent by General Manager Zhang. Mr. Cheng, how's the Phase 2 plan coming along? The group's board of directors reviewed your proposal and is very satisfied. They've decided to put you in charge of the entire Smart Logistics business group. Annual budget, 500 million. Do a good job. Cheng Yuan looked at the line of text and smiled. He replied, receive. We guarantee the mission will be completed. The car drove onto the highway. Outside the window, the scenery rushed past. Cheng Yuan leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. He recalled that night of the victory celebration 6 months ago. I recalled the copyright certificate I had shown. Remembering Assistant Xiao Chen's flustered report, all partners withdrew their investment, and the company went bankrupt. The company has indeed gone bankrupt, but new company, a new project, a new life are beginning, and those things that cannot be stolen or robbed. Talent, bottom line, dignity, it's still in his hands, and it will always be in his hands. As the plane took off, Cheng Yuan looked out at the sea of clouds. Sunlight pierced through the clouds, casting a golden glow. He remembered the words engraved on the pen Su Xiao had given him. Be down to earth in your work and be a genuine person. He did it. I will continue to do this in the future, because this is who he truly is. Cheng Yuan, the man who made a cooperation plan worth hundreds of millions, which his wife gave to her male best friend, but who ultimately turned the tables with a single certificate. Now, he is the vice president of technology at Far Eastern Group. He is the chief designer of the Smart Logistics Park. He is in charge of a budget of 500 million, but he knew that none of these titles mattered. The important thing is that he protected himself. That's enough. The plane pierced through the clouds and soared into the higher skies. Cheng Yuan looked ahead with a determined gaze. The new journey has just begun.